Aslan joins me now from Gaziantep here in Turkey. Turkey's President Erdogan has said that the Syrian regime will pay a heavy price. What do you make of this response from Recep Tayyip Erdogan?
Recep Tayyip Erdogan is always brief to announce what he is going to do. And at this time, I think the same applies. Because there are casualties of Turkish side. There's a great humanitarian disaster, and people, either individuals or families, are trying to survive in Idlib. And something must be done pending to the international agreements. And we know that Astana Agreement and Sochi Agreement are clear documents that draw the lines for Idlib. And up until now, we see violations, clear violations, and something must be done. And tomorrow, I believe, there will be a kind of announced plan to respond this policy, this, atrocity in Idlib. So we will see it.
Murat, a Russian delegation was here in Turkey over the weekend meeting with Turkish officials, but they left with no apparent agreement. We've heard a Russian response. Let's listen now to what the Kremlin had to say.
At this moment, we consider the Sochi Agreement implementation to be the most important thing. It was and it is very important, as well as cutting off all terrorist actions against Syrian armed forces and against Russian military facilities. We consider such raids intolerable.
All right, so you've just heard the Russian response there. The two sides seem very far apart. Where do things go from here?
The announcement is, very clear but biased, I believe, because Russians label everybody in Idlib as terrorists. But we should check, actually, the outcomes after bombings. We see an indiscriminate shelling of the cities and towns over there. Civilian casualties are really enormous, like at the level of 3,000 for the last year. And for this year, it's about 300 people. They are civilian. So if you claim that you are targeting terror cells, there must be no civilian casualty. On the other hand, the method, the tactic that is used on the ground is really brutal. Okay, then there must be a kind of, rearrangement of the agreed, documents by Turkey and Russia that somebody should protect civilians. Now, Turkey assumes this responsibility. But if you repeat the same sentiments, claiming that everybody is terrorist or radical on the ground, it's not fair and it's not realistic.
So where do you see this escalation in Syria going? Turkey's President Erdogan said last week that the Syrian regime would have until the end of the month to pull back behind Turkish outposts. It doesn't seem to be any indication that they are starting to do that. Is Turkey going to be in a full-out war with Syria soon?
As you know, there's a status quo over there, and it's broken. And the only diplomatic channel is a kind of probable talk, maybe a phone call between President Erdogan and Putin. If this talk is not fruitful, that means military option is valid, and we will see, clashes in Idlib, mainly between regime forces and also Syrian National Army, backed by Turkish army.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Murat Aslan joining us from Gaziantep in Turkey.